Hey guys, welcome back to Survive. This is a podcast which I, Carter, determine the kills of your favorite horror movies. Disclaimer for this podcast is breaking down Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I will not be discussing all of these kills since most are thugs that don't do much for the storyline. The film does not include Michael Myers, but stars Stacey Nelkin and Dan O'Hurley. The movie starts in Northern California in October, starting 8 days before Halloween. This film is one of the worst ones due to the timestamps and storyline. A man named Harry Grimbridge is running away from a car driving towards him when he backs up into a well-dressed man known as a thug. The thug pins Harry down to the floor and strangles him. Harry pulls a brake from a car, and the vehicle drives straight into the thug, kills him but with no blood, just a crush. Again, not discussing it. Harry survives and runs away. Time passes. A gas station worker sees that a piece of Stonehenge has been stolen. A commercial waves by and gives us our first look at this annoying song. I'm going to let you guys listen to this, so be ready.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
The ad sells 3 ugly masks: a skeleton, a jack-o'-lantern, and a witch. Harry comes by the worker and tells him that they're coming. The main character gets introduced. His name is Dr. Daniel Chalice. His ex-wife, played by Annie's actor in the original Halloween. Their 2 kids have Halloween masks and play the commercial. Dan takes care of Harry, who was brought in by some paramedics. Later that night, when everyone's asleep, a thug sneaks into Harry's room and is killing him by shoving his 2 fingers in his eyes. With that, Harry is dead. The kill is brutal, but there was no way to stop it. Of course, it's a treat for murderers when their victims are asleep, because by the time they wake up, they're too tired to do action. So this kill is, of course, a die. The next day rolls around when Harry's daughter looks at Harry's body. Then the next day rolls around, and it's the 27th, going from the 24th to the 27th. Dan hangs out with a nurse. Then it's the next day, when Dan is at a bar and drinking and listening to the annoying commercial, only to be introduced by a preview from the original Halloween. Ellie walks in the bar and talks to Dan, just some small talk. Dan cancels a meetup with his kids so he can adventure with Ellie. They travel to Santa Mira, the home of the makers of the masks, Silver Shamrock Novelties. Ellie and Dan rent a motel as a couple, quote unquote. Dan meets their neighbors Buddy, Betty, and Buddy Jr. Kupfer. Also another neighbor is Marge Gutman. Ellie and Dan hang out in the motel. Dan runs to get some beer, only to run into a guy named Starker. The man talks about the head of Silver Shamrock, Connell Cochran. Starker runs away, only to be caught by a couple of thugs, including one played by Dick Warlock, Halloween 2's Michael Myers. Starker gets pounded down to the ground, only to get his head ripped off, decapitated by Dick Warlock. With this kill, it was sort of obvious Starker was going to get killed, judging by the people who get killed are the ones who talk about Silver Shamrock. But with the thugs attacking people, it's too hard to get out of the situation. Even though this kill could have been denied, I'm still going to put it as a die, because you never know what the thugs do. Next kill is when Marge Gutman finds a tag that belongs to a mask. She picks it up and starts picking at the motherboard of it all, only to get a blue razor to the face and burn her eyes, and her mouth widens out and crinkles. This kill is unexpected because this is the kill that introduces the storyline and what happens. So it was probably hard to tell what the tag was. So this kill, once again, is a die. The next day rolls around, and it's Halloween Eve finally. Dan heads into a shamrock factory, only to be followed by the Kupfers. Dan gets back to the motel and finds that Ellie is missing, and 5 thugs are standing outside of his window. Dan goes back to the factory to find an animatronic grandma knitting. Dan shakes her, and her head falls off, scaring him. Dan backs up and is thrown into another room by Dick Warlock. Dan punches Dick in the stomach, releasing orange goo that later kills the thug. Dan finds wires inside of him. Dan gets caught by Cochran. It's finally Halloween now, and Cochran leads Dan into the warehouse to find the missing Stonehenge. Stonehenge is the power of the inside of the tags. Cochran wants to show Dan a demonstration, so he takes the Kupfer family, and Betty, his son, takes his mask, and the commercial plays, and the tag starts glowing and turns Betty's head into a bush. That's the number one goal of Cochran's plan. Betty faints, and Buddy is bitten by the snake that comes out of Benny's mouth. These kills are crazy, all happening from different causes. Benny's one for one was unexpected, but not his two parents. Obviously, the dumb family had no idea, but in that situation, with the room locked and the windows covered, these kills, all in all, are total dies. Because you obviously are going to expect it. A nurse is in a room examining bits and pieces of the mask when a thug comes behind her and takes a power drill and shoves the moving drill into her head, happening off screen. This kill I can't really talk about because it happened so fast, but with it, the thug comes from behind her, surprising her and quickly pinning the nurse and drilling right away. So this kill is a die again. But Dan gets sent to a room by Cochran, later quickly escaping and climbing through vents to get to Ellie's room, where she lies on a table. The two escape quickly and making it back to the warehouse, where Dan sneaks in and turns on the commercial and takes a box of tags, and he goes up to higher ground and pours them on all the thugs, killing them with shocks. I counted 16 thugs, and Cochran down there with the thugs applauds Dan and Ellie, while a blue circle forms around the computers and the thugs worked on, and the Stonehenge create power and make Cochran turn into a piece of paper, which is so weird. That kill was very expected, but even though it was stupid overall, the death overall was just idiotic, but with Cochran standing there taking it, the death was a die, because that's what this movie's about. While Dan and Ellie are driving away, Dan realizes Ellie hasn't said a word the whole time they rejoined. That's because she's a fembot, also known as a female bot, and is trying to kill Dan. Now, I don't know if the OG Ellie was killed or not, but Dan crashes the car and takes a tire iron and decapitates Ellie, revealing the orange goo, even though he gets attacked several times after he decapitates her. Dan meets up with a gas station worker and calls the TV station to turn the commercial off, warning them that if not, it will kill bunches of kids. The call continues, and we don't know if Dan gets his way. Overall, the movie had all dies because Season of the Witch just want to be like that. Make sure to tune in next time for Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Peace out.